Ubuntu. Welcome to the Love Frequency, where we love frequently. My name is Ange, the Love Freak, and this is
Leona. And I guess I'm somewhat of a love freak myself.
Because we love everything that has to do with love and higher vibrations, higher consciousness, and getting ourselves in alignment so that we can spread love and be of good to the world. And we want others to join in with us in spreading this love. And that is why we are here right now at Imbalance, which is a dance therapy studio in which we are all about, healing and helping others kind of get themselves on the right path of life, the right vision, and for us to come together as a community, collectively. Because I believe if we heal ourselves, number one, we heal our communities, we can heal the entire world.
That's what I believe the same thing, that healing ourselves, we have to heal ourselves first in order to heal the world. Because if we don't heal ourselves, how can we?
We'll be a hot mess.
Absolutely, trying to heal somebody else and we have issues ourselves.
And you know what happens, and I've heard stories like that, where people, they come as healers, but they still are holding on to so much negativity within them. It comes out in the healing process to where the person that they're trying to heal is like, well, you're projecting your issues onto me. This is not how, and then that doesn't help anybody. And
that's what happens. We project our issues onto each other. I was looking the other day at, actually I was looking at the red table.
Okay.
Is what I was looking at. And they had an individual on there. She was adopted by a white family.
Okay.
And being adopted by a white family, she only knew white privilege. And she was black. And she was black. And she fell into that arena. She was having a very hard time dealing with the black community because she had been raised by a white family, and all she knew were the white relatives, the white everybody. So she was trying to help more people to understand that it's a problem when you adopt a child out of your race. It's a problem for that child. And as she was trying to explain, she said she had a problem dealing with black babies. She'd rather deal with white babies. So I felt
that's interesting.
I thought it very interesting.
A baby's a baby, in my
That's what I would think. And then I thought to myself, how can you help someone else if you're having problems with that yourself?
There's a lot of healing in that.
Absolutely. So it's just like we say, I can't heal you unless I heal me.
Yes.
So I try to heal me on a daily basis, and I try to learn as much as I possibly can in order to heal me, and I know that's a part of the healing process.
Because what happens is, as you're healing, you're leveling up into your ascension in life and your vibrations. So when you're leveling up, it only makes sense to pull others up with you. But you gotta be leveling up. You can't be trying to come from here trying to, hey, I'm trying to help y'all, but I'm stuck. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a clear path. And that's what I love about this studio, Imbalance, because it is the focal point is upon healing, not just ourselves, but on the community. And you came up with this idea of having Imbalance initially. So tell me a little bit more about how Imbalance came to be.
Well, actually, I think everybody or most individuals that go into psychology, like myself, I'm a psychotherapist.
You let them know.
And so
she's
therefore, in the process of going through school, the reason I wanted to be a psychotherapist is because I felt as though I had numerous issues. I had numerous issues from me growing up in the projects in Chicago, Illinois, my parents being poor, and in the projects, mothers there, they can't have a father in the area. You know, you can't be in the projects and have a man. So all the women in the projects, there was no men.
So why is that? Why can't you have a man in the projects?
It was a part of the system, how the system was set up for the housing authority. For projects for people on welfare.
So so you can't get it. You can't actually live there if there's a man there.
That's right.
Wow.
In order to live in the projects, in order for the women to be able to get an apartment, they had to not have a man and don't let a man come in.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the way it was. And I can recall as a little girl when my mother had men friends, she would hide them in the closet because social workers would come to the house to check, to make sure. So that's what they did with all the women, the black women that was on welfare, I guess white women too, but it was mainly black.
Yeah,
black
especially
women,
in the Chicago projects like that.
In the projects, all these women had to have no man, and all of them had many children. The majority of the families.
It's like, how you think they have children? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They gotta have a man, and when you talk about something like that, it's kind of like the system, the systematic type approach is to keep the family separated.
To keep the family separate. That was their approach at the time. But see, you don't think about stuff when we never think about that. After slavery, it took almost 300 years before we were able to get education.
Yeah.
So when going through all this process, nobody thought about, hey, the reason they doing this is to separate the families. We just thought about you can't have a man in the project. So now thinking that there's 10 apartments on every floor, there was 16 floors in the project building and 10 floors on each, 10 apartments on each floor. So we got over 1,000 women with no men, and it was about, in the area, I think we had maybe 8 projects, the tall ones. It was 8 of them, and it was about 3 of the small ones. So imagine that amount of women with no fathers.
Those kids, those children, and then as time goes on, and like you were saying, the mindset at the time clearly is just survival.
Right.
They're just trying to survive, and then as time goes on and as generations pass, all those children's children, generations growing up with no imbalance in their lives, and then people wonder why. You know, no offense to Chicago, but you hear so much about the violence in Chicago, the what goes on there.
Yeah.
And it's because of that.
Because it was set up that way. The system was set up.
If you're confused and you don't have balance.
Absolutely. And then even though that was going on, women was having babies every year, constantly. Everybody was pregnant and everybody was having babies because the more babies they got, and they weren't doing it on purpose, but they had men.
Where were the men at?
They would come, meet them at the party, whatever. They were young people who went out and partied and had fun. So that's what they did. They went out and partied. They had find somebody they like, and
it's a natural human instinct to be with someone. But my thing is, what boggles my mind about all of what you're saying in that regard is because the fact that the men, where were the men? How come they were like, no, I'm gonna take my families and go, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't easy for them. Right. And it just boggles my mind how it's set up.
It was some men who said, I'm gonna take my family and do this, but see, it was systematic racism from way back. Yeah. So the men,
they don't know better.
No, they don't know no better. Not only that,
you grow up a certain way, you won't keep
absolutely. A lot of the men were still thinking that they were breeders because they had a lot of our men as breeders. So they was going around talking about, hey, I could make as many babies, thinking it was cool.
And then the system's taking care of them.
Right.
Like they don't have to take care of the kids because the government is, I'm not even allowed to be over there anyway.
Enabling.
Wow.
So
that's like mind blowing to me because I didn't come from that.
Oh.
And then so on the outside looking in, we see that.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about the project, I'm from the project, you know, people so proud about it, but not realizing that there's a healing that needs to take place within the families.
Right. It was a terrible thing that they did to us. You know, I can't say those people, but it was a terrible thing to our community, our ancestors, us.
Yeah, our because what affects one, like Martin said in a quote, and I'm not gonna try to quote it. I mean, I'm trying to quote it, but I ain't gonna try. All right. But really, what happened? An injustice. There you go. An injustice somewhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's right.
Something like that. Yeah. But no, for real. What happens and affects one area with people that look like us, think like us, feel like us, affects us all because we're all a part of this. In the same country right now, and you know, trying to get by, and we all affected in the same way.
And you know, I think about, you know, even though I was in the projects, now my husband didn't grow up in the projects. He grew up in the South, in Marion, Alabama, and he grew up with no shoes and stuff like that. So it affected him in a different way, in a different place, but the same thing.
Did he have a family structure?
He had a family structure, you know. He had a family structure, but his mom died when he was 9 years old.
Okay.
So therefore, you know, and his father left the South in order to go north and find a job, like a lot of the men did. They go find a job to make more money to take care of the children there, because he had 5 siblings, you know. Okay. So they went through the same problems growing up, not specific like ours were.
But it still was something, because when you think about systematic racism, systematic racism is what it is. It may be different, it looks different in different areas, but it's still the same mind control, manipulation.
Absolutely. Preventing us from
getting ahead.
Absolutely. Racism is racism. And that's what it was, it prevented us in one way in the projects. It prevented my husband in another way in the South. And
then that's when you think about even the term race. Like they said, race is not really an ethnicity. Like when you think about African, right? They have different countries that make up. You know, you have West African, East African. Then you have, you know, Ghana, Nigeria. You have South Africa. You have these different places where people are from, but there's not a place, like you said, that's called black. There's not a place that's called Africa, America. Like, where is that at? You know, we're made up because it's a race. There's no such thing as a white, you know, a country called white.
But you know race was made up a long time ago when it was a race.
It's always been a race.
It's been a race to the richest. And when they had the race but see, we've been locked out of the race.
It's because we don't know that we're playing a game right now.
We've been locked out of the chess game.
It's a game.
It's a game of chess, and we are not on the board.
At all. No. We're on the board. We're the pawns in the game.
It's the Monopoly game. In the Monopoly game, we have been left out. We're not on Park Place. We don't have no land. We've been left out of the Monopoly game. Every time we step on land, we got to pay. Or go to jail.
A lot more than others. Like, it's set up that way even in the coded system. Like, if you look at the coded law, like if you look at the Black Law Dictionary and it says there's a black law, there's a black code of law that says that the black man, if you identify as black, in law, on paperwork, you have no rights. And that's why we're also going through the same thing with the system of the prison system, the foster care systems, even the welfare system,
school system,
all type of systems. Heck, you know, so it's a perpetual pattern that's been going on. Absolutely. And so what we are even doing here with Imbalance is the fact that we're trying to wake people up. You know, there's a consciousness awakening that's happening in the world right now. And so we're just taking part in that and waking ourselves up,
to bring
waking each other up to bring a balance in the world, because the world is kind of doing this right now, all this craziness, the violence is happening, the anger, the toxin, the low vibrations. The reason why there is a low vibration is because there is an imbalance between people, because one set of people, one set of race is saying, this race, right? One set of people is saying they're here and they're thinking that everybody else is here. And you see how that's an imbalance. Because one person is putting their place up here, and so that's why it's rocky. Right. You got to bring it up here and have a balance of all people in order for us to get on this higher frequency level of love, peace, humanity, togetherness, unity, compassion, etc.
And absolutely. And then, but first, like we talk about that in order for me to love you, I first have to love myself. In order for us to balance things, we have to balance our community.
And that's exactly what it is.
Because it's other communities who are doing that. We have to balance our community to find the love and the things that we need within who we are.
And we have every right. We have every right to say that we want to build and help our own community and our own culture. And the reason, and the way we do that, and the way we help our communities, is identifying our culture, our cultural roots, who our ancestors were, who we were before slavery, because our history didn't start at slavery.
Oh no.
You know that. We know that. But yet the system of school doesn't teach that.
And that's why even the school, I think the worst racism is in the school system, because it starts out so early. And our children go through that school system till how long? For how long?
Exactly.
Up until 18, from 5 or 4.
Their whole lives.
Their whole lives.
The important part of their lives when their brains are developing.
Right. And that's why many people state that the public school system is the school to prison system.
Ooh.
Simply because many of our men, that's where a lot of that poisoning, those toxins happen in the school system. They lose many of our men by the grade of 3 or 4th grade, because by that time they have already taken away so much, as far as telling them, they're the best, we're the best, and not
showing
you.
their history books,
constantly
the heroes, right?
Even everything that's wonderful.
Comic books that they're following, right? Who are all the heroes? Batman, Superman, Iron Man.
Right.
I mean, yeah, we have Black Panther that's kind of just now in the forefront now, but so I think we're kind of going in a better direction. I can say there's some advancements since slavery, but we're still not where we used to be before slavery.
And we have not cleaned up the area that poisoned us so bad. In order for us to move forward, we've got to clean up what happened. I always like to say that I was in the military for 22 years. And while I was in the military, I went to war. I went to Saudi Arabia, and I was forward support. It was the first time they sent women forward, and I was one of those first women that went forward in war. And it was quite a bit. And when I came home, I had to go through counseling, and I ended up being in counseling for maybe 3-4 years after I left the military because of having gone to war. However, many of the things I was in counseling for were things that I grew up with. Problems. It was problems packed from way back.
Like deep-rooted issues.
And I like to bring that up to say that I was in Saudi Arabia for, I believe, 9 months. But my ancestors were in slavery for years. And they left slavery with a stick, with a bag on the stick to carry the few belongings that they had. And on the way as they traveled, they saw an uncle hanging in the street from a tree. They saw a cousin being raped in the back, screaming and hollering. They saw a friend dead on the side that had the legs chopped up and the arms missing. They saw kids running because somebody was gonna make them work for a longer. Many of these things they saw.
Fear. They feared their lives.
Right.
As
they walked away, we
got free, but now we're fearing our lives.
And as they walked away, then they started making black codes, because they said if you vagrant, you're gonna be put in jails. They needed to work. They needed to keep us working, because now who they have to do all the labor has gone. So they did all kind of things to put us back in the labor with the black codes. Then came the civil rights. Then came the cigarette. So we have never stopped.
We never healed from that.
When do we get balance?
Yeah.
That's why Imbalance is here.
Nice.
Because we've gone through so much and nothing has been done. And as long as we act like it didn't happen, we'll never heal.
Yes. And you make a good point with that, because I don't think we ever fully think about that. The fact that our grandmothers, they never had a chance to sit down with someone and talk about the pain.
Right.
They had to live with the pain. They had to pass down the pain. So you're passing down trauma from generation to generation. And we are the result, not to say the result of the trauma, but we are still living that. We're still healing from that.
And then they had to act like that the pain wasn't there. See, that's the reason. That's the reason why our ancestors, when we talked about something, hey, the people that happened, they was this, they was this. We would make gestures to say, but we wouldn't say black or something like that, because it was some of the black codes. We couldn't hang around together, three of us, because that meant we was stirring up something and might try to run away or do something. So for a long time, we couldn't do that, and we still do those things. And I like to mention that little things that we don't realize, because we never went through therapy or healing or anything after slavery, or no time after that, and still we barely talk about it or act like it didn't happen. And because of that, you see people
we
in
feel
the
bad
church.
for talking about it. Like, don't
like it's
y'all forget about that. What do you mean? We still living it.
We live it. It's people in church walking around with their finger up high, walking around talking about this is respect. Don't you know that means the master has said it's okay that I can get up? We don't have a master anymore. Put your finger down.
Start putting on the crowns.
Put your crown on and put your finger down.
And what I love about Imbalance is dance therapy studio. Like we emphasize that as far as the dance part, but we also do yoga as well. Right. And yoga is what gets us in alignment. And it's something that of course, our ancestors, they didn't know anything about yoga, of course, as far as even balancing out your chakras and getting that in alignment, because like I said, we were forced to be just at the root level within our survival. So we didn't even know what it's like to ascend in our chakras. Yeah. We didn't know what it's like, okay, how can I heal the sacral, and then the solar plexus, and then the heart, then we have a voice, then we have vision, we have the crown. We have a crown, we are royalty.
Absolutely.
And so we here are getting us back to that royal status. And letting us know as a culture that we are royalty.
Oh, absolutely. And,
royalty.
And it's a matter of just getting back in balance, because we've been knocked off balance.
So far off balance. And we now have to take the responsibility for ourselves. There's nobody that's gonna come in and save us. There's no one. There's no one that's backed. There's no other culture. There's no other group of people that's gonna save this group of people. Absolutely. We have to save ourselves. It's literally SOS, save ourselves. And the only way to do that is through knowledge, healing, therapy.
You think about, look at the simple things that we've gone through, like we don't like our hair. No, isn't that crazy?
What's growing on our scalp, and then what's going on right now with them having to pass laws into the corporate structures for us to wear what's growing out or naturally out of our scalps.
So that's how off balance we have been. We have been so off balance that to wash our hair, I recall when I was growing up, if I washed my hair and somebody knocked at the door, we tied a towel on our head and held it there so they wouldn't see us for dear life. And if that towel fell off, oh, that was a disaster. We were told that our hair was ugly and nappy and tied up and I don't want to see it, and we believed it.
And the only way, because we didn't know how to take care of it. We just needed to learn.
It was beautiful then. It's just that when you're drilled something in your mind, that's what you see.
Yeah.
You know, you see what's drilled into your head. So then you have black women going around saying, there's no way in the world I wear my hair. No way. I wouldn't be caught with my hair.
I used to be one of those in my younger days.
And it's the same women who say that, who say, I believe in God. God is my everything.
And go to church.
And I can't believe that you say you believe in God and you go to church every Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all that, and then you turn around and say, God messed up with this hair. How can
embrace that?
So that's an imbalance. That's an imbalance.
Yeah, within ourselves.
You saying you love God and God give you everything, but you hate what God gave you on your head.
Or even saying, I mean, we can get deep. Like even saying, I love God, and with God, if you go to church and you're religious, right? And the Bible says you love your fellow man, you love your neighbor, you love your brother. But how can the Bible don't speak about how you love yourself? Because how can I love you? How can I love my brother if I don't love myself? If I can't look in the mirror and I can't see the beauty within my own self? Absolutely. How can I see the beauty in somebody else? Because it's about, like I said, bringing it back to yoga. When we say namaste, it's like the light in me honors the light in you. So if I don't see the light in me, how can I see the light in you? And how can I honor it? So we first have to honor that within us so I can honor it within you.
Absolutely.
And I see the light in you. All the time.
And I see the light in you constantly.
Yes, all the time. You shine bright with that light because you know yourself. You know thyself, and you exude that healing, and we feel it here.
And I think too that one of the things we have to do that we got away from that took us off balance again is we're not true to ourselves. And you gotta be true to yourself, you know.
In what ways?
In every way, you got to be true to yourself. Do what you understand, what you feel, what you see.
Do what you like.
Yeah.
And then
be you.
And see and then we can get on. I mean, like literally, because when you're talking about staying true to yourself, even in a sense of when you're in, say, the black community, the culture, you don't even have to follow there's not a strict rule. No. There's not a strict rule that says you have to think like this and be like this
to be black.
To be black. Yeah. And I grew up in, Colorado. So a place where people are like, there's black people there? Yeah. So if I act a certain way, if I am a certain way, if I like certain things, or if I don't like certain things, I've heard the term, oh, you ain't black, you ain't black, you ain't black. So I've been shunned by my own culture because of that. And in many ways, I've been shunned in that way. I've been shunned in colorism because I'm brown skinned. I've had a so-called friend. I can't even call her friend, but she was lighter skinned when I was in middle school. Who made it seem like she was so much better because she was lighter skinned and I was brown skinned. So I grew up hating my own skin. I didn't like being brown for the longest, and even dealing with my child's father, he was very emotionally abusive in terms of making me feel as if my skin or who I wasn't good enough in that regard as well. So I'm passionate about that, as well as spreading self-love because of that, because it took me so long to love myself and really know what self-love was. So now when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I love my skin. I love being brown. I love my hair shoot. I love that just whipping back and forth. And guess what? It's all mine. You know what I'm saying? And it took me to actually come here more so to really truly even embrace more aspects of that. Because I wore my natural hair, but to really see the beauty of it took me to be here and say, it's time to heal ourselves and love ourselves, for me to see the beauty all within me. So now it's like fully, I'm fully feeling it. But you have that type of energy, and I want to let y'all know something about Miss Leona, okay? She just has this energy where she brings out the best in others so much, just from what you say, you have the positive words and how you can just you speak life. You speak life into people. You spoke life so much into me to where I feel that. Like I feel like I feel beautiful. I feel great.
Yeah, but look at her, isn't she?
Yeah, but you're beautiful. It's because you're beautiful. It's because your light is beautiful. Your light is all of that, and you know it. You know what I'm saying? You know it. Yes, and you shine that light so bright, and so that's why people just want to be around you because it's like, oh, it's healing.
Yeah,
we love that light because the same light that's within you is somewhere in me, and so when I'm around that, it brings it out of me. It's like the candle, that flame. It's like when you have a flame, it doesn't go out when you light another candle. They both shine.
They both shine.
And then you can light a million candles, and they'll all shine. And that's what the love frequency is about.
Now that's what it's about. Lighting all those candles, and we all shine. You see, because we can't grow if you don't grow. We can't Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. I was about to say it. I'm gonna let her finish talking because I jump in a lot. But piggyback and say we piggyback off each other, and when we come together, that's what we're all about. The African philosophy of Ubuntu, and that means I am because we are. So we cannot succeed without the help of each other, and so that is what I want y'all to get that. Imbalance is about coming together collectively so that we can be in balance as a whole, so that the world can get on a better place. But we can't consider the world without considering ourselves first. And so yeah, I'm gonna end it here. We had a lot. It was a great topic. I hope that you got something from it and that it sparked something in your own minds to have you start thinking about, how things are and how you can heal. And if we can help you heal and you're out here, come to Imbalance. That's what we're here for. We do dance, we do yoga, we have fun. We have fun here, and you can just come here and it's like a family environment, and it's just a great time. So,
and we also do Chicago stepping. And we do line dancing. We haven't set up our line dancing yet, but that will come. Right. And we also do emotional emancipation circles. And that's where we have circles, healing circles, in order to talk about where we come from, what we're going through, and where we're going to. Somewhat of a Sankofa.
Love it.
So, tune in again, please.
Make sure you stay tuned in. Join our family, our community. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com and just go to Imbalance Dance. And a link will be at in the comment section below. Make sure you like that page and stay up to date with us. And as well as for the love frequency, I have a text messaging services where I give out these morning mantras every morning. You just text @LoveFreq, that's @LOVEFREQ to 81010, that's 81010, and it's just to get you to keep you on a path of healing and on a path of the love frequency and to stay on this right vibration. And we'll talk to you next time, and we'll have special guests on the show, so make sure you stay tuned. And if you have anything that you want to hear, just let us know. Talk to us, and we'll be here to answer any questions that you may have. Make sure you click that subscribe button, that like button, and we'll talk with you later. This has been the Love Frequency, where we love frequently, and my name is Ange, a love freak.
And I'm Leona.
She's a love freak too.